Hey everyone, welcome to KinoBit Recap, where stories come alive.
In 1957, deep in the Colorado mountains, a young woman named Hope makes a mysterious call from a payphone at Camp Alpine Lake. Her voice trembles as she explains that she discovered a number carved into the ice, something she keeps seeing in her recurring, unsettling dreams. But when she asks who's on the other end, all she hears is static. The noise sharpens into a high-pitched screech, forcing her to hang up. Cut to 1982 in Denver. A teenage boy named Finney is beating up a new kid who pleads for mercy. Finney doesn't stop until his sister Gwen rushes over yelling for him to stop. Later, Gwen demands an explanation and Finney claims the other boy started it. But everyone in town knows Finney's story. He's the boy who for years earlier faced and defeated a serial killer known only as the Grabber. Moments later, the siblings are approached by Ernie, the brother of one of the Grabber's victims. Shy but determined, he asks Gwen to go to a concert with him, and she agrees. That night, Finney can't sleep. Stepping outside the smoke, he's haunted by memories of the night he confronted the Grabber. In the drifting smoke, he imagines the killer's dark silhouette standing in his backyard. Gwen comes out to check on him, but he refuses to talk. Meanwhile, at Camp Alpine Lake, a young boy named Felix arrives, eager for summer fun. Laughter soon turns to screams as the Grabber emerges from the shadows, chasing him through the forest. Felix stumbles and falls. The Grabber seizes him, pulling out a knife, slashing him and dumping his body into the freezing lake. As Felix sinks, he scratches the letter W into the ice above. Gwen wakes with a start. It was a dream, but the phone rings, and when she walks to the front door, she notices something odd across the street. Before she can react, Finn's voice snaps her back. She's been sleepwalking again. Gwen tries to recount her nightmare, but Finney simply sends her back to bed. The next day, Gwen spends time in the school library researching supernatural events. A group of girls mock her, calling her a witch. When Ernie arrives with concert tickets, he praises her curiosity and even shows her tarot cards from his grandmother's shop. Ernie knows about Gwen's psychic dreams, the ones that once helped locate the Grabber's victims.
Gwen grows uneasy, but Ernie just smiles. I like weird. After school, Finney stops at a local store and hears a payphone ringing nearby. Curious, he picks it up, muttering, "Sorry, I can't help you," before hanging up. Moments later, the phone is mysteriously out of order. Back at the camp, another boy, Kel, enjoys summer activities, but one night, the Grabber hunts him down. Kel tries to escape, but the killer catches him, hacking him apart with an axe. Some of his remains are burned, the rest are dumped into the lake. Kel's ghost appears, etching the letter beside Felix's W. Gwen wakes again to a ringing phone. Outside, she freezes in horror. Kel's body lies in the yard. Panicked, she grabs her bicycle and pedals through the night to the Grabber's old house. Crawling through a basement window, she finds herself in the cold, dark cellar. There, a black phone is mounted on the wall. When she answers, Hope's voice speaks, the same one from 1957. Shock hits Gwen. Hope had the same dream she has now. But while Gwen's visions show letters, Hope's revealed numbers. Static suddenly fills the line, cutting the call. Turning, Gwen sees the ghostly Grabber's brother. Hollow eyes pierce hers as he warns, "You shouldn't be here." The cellar door creaks open, and the black phone rings again. Footsteps echo, but it's only Finney searching for his sister.
Gwen explains the call, realizing Hope was their mother in her youth. Finney dismisses it as a dream and leads her out. The next morning, Gwen finds a Camp Alpine Lake pamphlet and suggests they volunteer as counselors to investigate. Finney refuses. Their father, Terrence, overhears and mentions that their mother once worked there. He adds that the camp was shut down in 1958 and admits he's never trusted Christian camps. Gwen convinces Ernie to join the trip. Finney dislikes him, but decides to go to keep an eye on Gwen. After hours driving through Colorado's wilderness, they encounter a blinding snowstorm. Roads are slick, visibility nearly zero. Finney steps out to guide them, while Ernie follows the car's tracks. Soon, a man named Mustang appears, shining a flashlight through the snow. leading them safely to camp. At the entrance, Mustang introduces his uncle, Armando, the camp manager. On the way to the cabins, Finney notices an old payphone near the lodge, half buried in snow. Gwen is sent to the girls' dorm, Finney and Ernie to the boys' quarters. Both dorms are empty. Only a few staff in the trio are present. That night, Gwen drifts off, pulled into a nightmare. Spike, a camp band member, performs for cheering campers. Suddenly, the grabber attacks, killing Spike. Before his face splits in half, Spike scratches the letter H into the ice beside the others. Gwen wakes, drenched in sweat, hearing scraping beneath the neighboring bed. Outside, Finney hears a distant payphone ring, hesitates and walks toward it. The ringing stops. When he turns, it starts again. Curiosity takes over. He picks up. He says, hangs up, but the phone rings louder.
He grabs the receiver again. Through static, a chilling voice whispers, "Hello, Finney." His eyes widen. He slams the receiver down, but the booth door locks. He kicks it repeatedly. The phone rings again. Furious, he kicks the payphone, knocking the handset loose. The grabber's voice echoes, "Hell isn't fire, Finney." Inside the dorm, Gwen musters courage and looks under the bed. Felix's corpse is there. She stumbles, but a burnt hand grabs her arm. Panicked, she backs to the wall. Spike appears at the window. Another shadow smashes the glass, slicing Spike's face in half, the same vision from her dream. Gwen screams. The phone booth door swings open. Finney rushes inside the dorm, shaking Gwen awake. She breaks down, recounting the three boys, the forest, and the grabber's attacks. After treating her burn, Gwen refuses to sleep alone and climbs into Ernie's bed. But even there, she can't find peace. Whispering a prayer, she asks Jesus to protect her from her nightmares. Ernie overhears her and gently starts a conversation about faith. They bond over their strict religious upbringings. Gwen reveals that her mother also had disturbing dreams, ones that eventually drove her insane, and she's terrified the same thing might happen to her. Ernie comforts her, and just as they're about to share a quiet kiss, Finney barges in and orders them to sleep. The next morning, Finney lashes out at Gwen for telling Ernie everything. Gwen argues that they need help, showing him the burn mark on her arm as proof that her dreams are real. During breakfast, Armando scolds Gwen for sleeping in the boys' dorm and questions why the trio even came to camp, doubting their claim of wanting to be counselors. The siblings show him a photo of Hope, and Armando immediately recognizes her. She used to work there as a counselor. His smile fades when he learns she took her own life 7 years ago. Saddened, Armando tells them to call their parents and confirm they're safe, instructing them to use the office phone. When Finney mentions the payphone outside, Armando says it hasn't worked in over a decade. Once Armando leaves, Finney tells the others that the phone actually rang last night and he heard the grabber's voice. Suddenly, the payphone starts ringing again. Finney sprints outside and picks up the receiver. Through heavy static, a boy's voice says it's cold and that they shouldn't be there. Ghostly figures of 3 boys appear around the booth as the caller pleads for help. Finney can't see them and keeps asking questions, but the boys can barely remember what happened. The spirits start pounding on the booth, vanishing only when Finney hangs up. Elsewhere, Terrence gets a call from Gwen confirming they're safe, but he's still worried about the blizzard, so he calls a friend to borrow a snowplow. Meanwhile, Gwen and Ernie meet 2 staff members, Kenneth and Barbara. They ask if there are any books about the camp's history. Kenneth kindly explains they only have brochures, but Barbara, foul-mouthed and judgmental, snaps at Gwen for sleeping with the boys. When they ask about the 3 boys who died years ago, Barbara coldly says, "Good Christian people don't discuss such horrible things." The argument escalates until Kenneth steps in and asks them to leave. That night, Gwen dreams of Hope answering the phone. She also sees the 3 dead boys begging for help. An axe suddenly slams into a tree trunk and blood starts seeping from it. A strange sound jolts Gwen awake. She sees the dorm door slam shut, and for a brief moment, her mother's ghost staring at her. Gwen rushes outside and spots Felix again, following him into the dark. At the same time, Finney wakes to the sound of the phone ringing. He shakes Ernie awake, telling him to stay with Gwen while he answers the call. But Gwen keeps walking after Felix.
Finney hears the grabber's voice again, though the ghost is nowhere to be seen. The grabber tells him he's come back for revenge, to destroy everything Finney loves, since it was Finney who forced him to kill his own brother. Ernie reaches the girls' dorm and finds it empty. Panicked, he runs out to find help. Felix leads Gwen to the mess hall. She follows a strange light into the kitchen, where the ovens suddenly burst into flames. The noise draws the adults to her location just as the grabber's ghost emerges from the shadows and attacks Gwen with an axe. She fights back, but he lashes her legs with a belt, knocking her to the floor. As she blocks another strike, he grabs her by the throat and starts choking her. The adults and Ernie burst in, but they can't see the attacker, only Gwen gasping and writhing on the floor. Suddenly, her body is thrown against the wall. Barbara screams and Finney races toward the kitchen. Gwen is lifted onto a table, spun in the air, and hurled toward the blazing ovens. Mustang dodges the debris and helps Ernie pull Gwen to safety. At that moment, Finney arrives and the grabber vanishes into the shadows. Later, after Finney revives Gwen, everyone gathers in the chapel. She tells them about the boys from her dreams, and Armando recognizes their descriptions. He admits he never stopped looking for them. Then he shows an old photo from the camp's final year, Hope among the counselors and the grabber among the staff. A shocked Armando explains that the man was a maintenance worker nicknamed Wild Bill Hickok because he wore a gunslinger's belt. Gwen realizes those initials, WB, matched the letters she saw in her dream. She concludes that this is where the grabber's killings began. Armando recalls strange things started happening at the camp about 4 years ago.
Finney points out that's when he killed the grabber, meaning his spirit must have been freed to return here. Gwen theorizes that the grabber feeds on fear because the boys' spirits aren't at rest. To stop him, they must find the missing bodies. The police never searched the lake because it was frozen during the murders, but Armando remembers Bill had ice fishing gear. He could have used it to hide the evidence. They agree to check the lake in the morning. Later that night, Armando returns to his office for the boys' photo and hears a strange sound. Looking outside, he spots a snowman and assumes Mustang made it. Then his radio crackles with static, followed by the grabber's voice whispering, "You made me kill my brother." Armando tells him he can't keep the boys forever. The lights flicker out. Grabbing a flashlight, he turned toward the window where a mask made of blood and snow stares back at him. The voice hisses, "I want to hurt you." Armando calmly answers, calling him Bill, and says they'll recover the boys. The grabber growls that Bill isn't his name, slamming on the window before disappearing. The next morning, the group searches the entire lake, but finds nothing. That evening, Finney and Ernie promise to take turns watching over Gwen while she sleeps in case she dreams again. That night, Gwen dreams of a paperboy named Billy. As he delivers newspapers, the grabber abducts him in a black van, his first victim. Hope sees the same memory in her dreams, recognizing the grabber as Wild Bill from camp. In the real world, Gwen begins sleepwalking, but Ernie gently guides her back to bed. Her dream continues. She sees Hope wake up and follow her own mother to the grabber's house, where she finds a child locked in the cellar. When Hope tries to escape and call the police, the young grabber captures her and throws her into his van. The ghostly grabber appears and forces Gwen inside too. During the drive, he tells her he's brought her here out of kindness so she can know the truth before the end. The van stops at Gwen's home, where she's forced to see her mother's body hanging in the garage. The truth hits her. Her mother didn't take her own life. The grabber murdered her and made it look that way. Gwen sobs as her father, Terrence, discovers the body and collapses in grief. The grabber raises his axe and Gwen runs through the house, bolting up the stairs, only to find herself back in the grabber's cellar. The black phone starts ringing. When she answers, Felix's voice urges her to hide. She dashes into the bathroom, finds a hole in the wall, and crawls through it until she reaches a locked door. She pounds on it, but it won't open, and the grabber slashes her arm with the axe. Blood spills both in the dream and in the real world. Ernie sees the wound appear and frantically calls for help, but no one can wake her. Finally, Gwen breaks through the door and runs into Felix's arms.
He slams the door shut, and she races toward the frozen lake where she can hear her friends shouting her name, trying to wake her. Meanwhile, Armando is still out searching. He finally spots Felix's real body under the ice and begins breaking through. Suddenly, the payphone materializes beside Gwen and starts ringing. When she answers, the grabber's voice says he must defend himself from those trying to steal his power. Then, in the real world, the grabber's ghost appears behind Armando and starts smashing the ice. Gwen struggles to open the phone booth door, desperate to help, but it won't budge. The ice suddenly gives way, and Armando plunges into the freezing water. As he tries to climb out, the grabber stomps on his hand and shoves him back under. In the dream, Gwen keeps pounding on the phone booth door, but every punch she throws hits Finney in the real world. The grabber smashes through the glass, yanking the phone cord around Gwen's neck and choking her.
Her body twists violently, spinning in midair just like in the dream. Blood splatters everywhere as the boys struggle to hold her down. Mustang splashes cold water on her face, but it doesn't wake her. The group keeps shouting, urging Gwen to fight back. Their voices echo through the dream, reaching her over the phone. Gwen focuses all her strength, and suddenly the booth explodes, sending the grabber flying backward. Breathing hard, she declares, "In dreams, I have power too." Then she headbutts the grabber, and the impact jolts her awake. Everyone rushes to the lake and manages to pull Armando out just in time. He's freezing but alive, and he confirms he's found Felix's body. They agree to return in the morning to recover the others. Back at camp, they're shocked to see Terrence arriving in the snowplow. Finney is ready to leave with his father, but Gwen refuses. She's determined to finish this. Tension rises as Gwen accuses both men of running from their pain instead of facing it. She finally reveals the truth about Hope, convincing them to stay and fight. The next day, they spend hours searching for the remaining boys, but come up empty-handed. Then Gwen suddenly falls asleep, and in her dream, the grabber appears, gliding across the frozen lake on skates. Gwen tries to run but slips, crashing into a hole in the ice. The grabber swings his axe, striking Kenneth and dragging him across the ice.
His body moves the same way in the real world. Kenneth slams into Barbara, sending her face first onto the frozen surface. Underwater, Gwen spots several barrels. She kicks them open and finally finds the last two missing boys inside. The grabber starts smashing the ice around the hole, breaking it apart as the rescue line falls in. He leaps forward, wrapping his belt around Finney's neck and choking him. Terrence dives into the freezing water, helping Gwen lift the barrels to the surface while Finney struggles, finally shoving the grabber off. Gwen clasps her hands and begins to pray. Suddenly, the boys' trapped souls rise from the lake. In the dream, the spirits emerge from the ice, grabbing the grabber's ankle and pulling him down. Gwen swings the axe, striking his head, then tears off his mask. The grabber screams in terror as Finney appears behind him, smashing his head repeatedly against the ice. Gwen then chops off the grabber's leg, freeing him from the skeleton's grip, and together they throw his body into the lake. The three boys drag him beneath the surface where he finally dies for good. When Gwen wakes up, she bursts into tears and kisses Ernie. Later, back at camp, Armando calls the victims' families to tell them the boys have finally been found. Suddenly, Gwen hears the payphone ringing again. When she picks it up, she hears her mother's gentle voice congratulating her for saving the children. Hope tells her the dreams aren't a curse and that she loves her kids very much before the line goes silent. Gwen shares the message with Finney, and at last, the siblings leave with their father as snow begins to fall. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this. Thanks for watching.